After you have created your Google News site and you've done a second and a third check to make sure that all of the pages are correct, that the content looks good, that everything seems to be looking and working properly, then you're ready to submit your site to Google News for manual approval. And to do that, you'll search on getting into Google News. Usually one of the top 2 search results will take you to an article, and inside that article will be this link. If you don't find it easily, just type in this link and that will take you to the application itself. You'll find that link towards the bottom of the page, and when you click on it, the very first question you have is your site currently included in Google News? And of course you'll leave it at no, and then it asks you if anyone has applied for inclusion in Google News in the past 60 days, and of course you need to say no to that as well. The next question is about the technical and editorial guidelines, and if you haven't read these, you probably should go ahead and read them, because you might find something in the guidelines that you've inadvertently left out of your site as you built it. But the expected answer to this question is yes, that your site does conform to all of those guidelines. Here is a real key part of the application, and this is where you're going to describe your news publication to Google in a way that makes them understand and believe that it is a professional publication, that you are a serious business, that you are not just one guy in your basement, but that you have a staff of writers and that you work together to produce this news publication. So I usually keep it pretty brief. I write almost always 10 sentences or less, broken into perhaps 2 paragraphs, and I usually say who the target audience for the publication is, if there's anything that we focus on in particular, whether it's a niche or a certain demographic of the audience, I say that. I add something polite, thanking them for taking a look at my site, and I just leave it at that. There's no need to do flashy stuff. I mean, you don't want to talk about having won awards if you've never won an award, or being nationally acclaimed if you're not nationally acclaimed, and those kinds of things. So just keep it straightforward, professional, and honest, and you'll do okay. But make sure it's correct and accurate. If you have a bad grammar or bad spelling on the application, that's a very, very bad sign. And then you'll provide the name of the site itself, rather with HTTP included in the name. So click to check yes, and then this screen will this will come up with further fields on the same form. It may be a case of just scrolling down to these other fields. But the first one is the name of the staff page. Sometimes you may have called this the team page, or staff, or writers, or something of that nature. What I usually do is I have in another tab or window, I have the website itself set up, and I navigate to the staff page, cut and copy the URL and paste it into this block. Then you need the city where your site is located, and this city, state, country need to be exactly the same as the contact address that's on your website. It's very important because Google says that they look at this explicitly when they're checking your site out. Next, you have the site name, and this needs to be your publication name, not the URL, not the domain name, but the publication name as news readers will see it forever in the future. So name it correctly, spell it right, put spaces in between the words, don't jam the words up together, because professional newspapers would not do that. Next, select the site language. And then on this screen, which actually is towards the top, sorry that they're out of order, but let's move down to the lower sections of the application. Here we have news section URLs. And for each of your categories of news, like business, health, sports, entertainment, world, technology, science, whatever categories you have on your site, you're going to navigate to that category page on your website, which is what you'll find if you have a business section on your site and you click on business in the menu. It's that URL that you'll copy and paste here. So what you do is you paste it into the box, like you would select business and paste it into the box, and then on select one you would scroll down until you found business, or until you found a category that was very similar to business, and then you would repeat that for each category on your site. Now, if you have a category that's very sparse, where maybe you only have 1 or 2 articles, then I would recommend just simply not submitting that category. I mean, Google may very well look at it when they review your site, but they may not either. They seem to pay a lot of attention to what's on this application form. Then once you've entered the sections, you scroll down on the application and you find this section. Now, do not select anything from this list unless it's absolutely true that you have that kind of content on your website. Most of the sites that I submit intentionally have none of the following content: no opinion pieces, press releases, user-generated content, etc. I don't have any of those things, and so I don't check any of those boxes. The problem with those boxes is that you don't know if Google considers that a positive or a negative. So I have just kind of stayed away from it. I think that doesn't mean that you can't add that kind of content in the future. I would also stay away from blog, just because I feel like I want my site to not be compared to a blog, and I would be concerned that Google would place the site at a lower ranking for blog type content versus a typical traditional publisher. Now, that may or may not be the case, but I just avoid all of that. And then finally, the contact information is at the very bottom of the application page, and so you want to put in your name and email address, and clearly this would be the name of your editor or managing staff on the newspaper and their email address, and almost certainly you would want an email address that's associated with the site that you've created and not just a Gmail or Yahoo address or something like that. So before you click submit, check back over everything that you've entered in the application just to make sure you didn't make any mistakes, and then click submit. And if everything's okay, Google will give you a message that looks like this, that your request has been received. They tell you that it could be several weeks before they get around to reviewing your request. After you receive this message, you can check your email, and in just about a minute you should receive an email confirming your application from Google News, and then you'll just wait until you receive another email with either acceptance or rejection and go from there.